Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey y'all, hey, it's me, Tamara. Yes, y'all, this is like take two, and part of the issue, not fully, has been the studio audience has not been doing what they're supposed to do, even though we do the same thing every week. It's so weird. But welcome to the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. For all my new listeners, new episodes drop every Thursday, so come on back through. I usually talk about my life, my interests, and the ways I'm trying to grow. For all my day 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever you came in supporter, thank you so much for continuing to listen or watch or however you consume this good old content, you feel me? If you're not, you should totally follow me on social media, and the link to that is in the episode notes. And you should also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? It's literally free 99 for you to support your girl in that way. And here's the cool thing, if you weren't aware, YouTube episodes upload on Wednesday nights at generally 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you can get the episodes earlier if you watch on YouTube. Furthermore, if you have a YouTube channel, it'll email me that so-and-so subscribed. And I usually look to see if whoever subscribed when I get those emails has a channel and videos and all that, especially if it's a podcaster that I know. I definitely subscribe. And so I will support you back. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm all about mutually beneficial stuff and whatnot. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. You feel me? This last week has been wild. And I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of background information before I get into what happened last week. So I'm 42. That's important information. You know what I'm saying? And so my bio dad, I have not seen him in real life since I was 4. And then when I was about 19, my mom gave me my auntie's. I don't remember why. I think I must have started talking about wanting to reach out to him or something at that point. And so she gave me my auntie's contact information, one of my aunties. I called her. She gave me my bio dad's information. And so I called him. And then we kind of stayed in contact for, I want to say, about a year and a half ish or whatever. I don't even think it was a year and a half, because I want to say I reached out to him in like April or May of whatever, whenever 99, I think I would have been 19, which sounds so wild. Wow. So then by the time it was the year 2000, so this, I guess, century, we were no longer talking before my 20th birthday. And so, yeah, no, actually, it wasn't a year and a half. It was a little over a year. He just stopped responding, stopped reaching out. And so then I stopped reaching out, because it's like I would keep reaching out and leave a message and do whatever, and he wouldn't respond. So I just kind of stopped. So then when I was 33, so that would have been 2013. Another sister of his reached out to me on Facebook, and it's so crazy because it was like in this other messages folder that I just so happened to find like months after she had messaged me. I just happened to be on my computer and found this message, and she's like, I'm your, or she's like, I'm looking for my niece, and she's lucky. And I say that because back then I had my first and last name on social media. I don't anymore, and haven't for years. Like before becoming a content creator, I changed it for different reasons. And so it's kind of crazy because she's nowadays she wouldn't have been able to find me, you know what I'm saying? But she was like, are your parents these people? Because I think you're my niece and this, that, and the other. And, you know, she's lucky also because I was the first person she messaged, and it was actually me. So that put me in touch with like cousins, other aunties and uncles and stuff that I just remember it was so like overwhelming, because I had never thought about having like any other family members, you know what I mean? I had always just thought about him and then he didn't seem to want to be bothered. So it didn't, I didn't really know who anyone else was. They had all been around me when I was a baby and toddler and whatnot, but I didn't know who they were. Like, they didn't exist, you know what I'm saying? And so it was super overwhelming, but stayed in contact with people via Facebook. And then as time goes on, call people, text people, whatever. So maintain relationship with people. They all predominantly live in New York. So I haven't made it out that way since reconnecting to try to meet up with anybody, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to think of when the last time I went to visit my granny. It might have been like right after that, so like 2014. But at that point, it was still like too fresh, and we were going whenever we went for her 75th birthday. I feel like that might have been then. I don't know. But, anyways, so haven't reconnected with anybody or anything like that, but have stayed in contact. And so then um 29 okay, so then what that did was that put me also back in touch with my bio dad. And so from 2013 to 2019, at first he started off strong and then started to fall off and would like sporadically hit me up just randomly whenever. But and that's, it is what it is. It's not, but it is what it is at this point. But I just remember telling him, because it's like, it'd be one thing if you were inconsistent, but also didn't say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, he was supposed to come visit, like, multiple times, like, that type of stuff. And so I remember telling him at some point, like, hey, I'm grown now, and I basically went my entire life without you being in my life. And I am so open to having a relationship with you and all of that, but what I can't deal with is inconsistencies of you saying you're going to do something and not doing it. I would rather you not say you're going to do anything and let's just see what's going to happen, instead of you continually saying you're going to do stuff. Like, I'm too old to be dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know I'm very big on communicating my boundaries. And so he's like, no, 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 no. That was not true, because it continued. And so then uh I remember it got even less consistent. And so then I heard from him 2018, my birthday. I was surprised to hear from him because I hadn't talked to him in like 9 months, and it'd be like I would reach out and he wouldn't respond. And then so my birthday's in June. So then 2019, I heard from him again. He called me on Mother's Day. And so then I was surprised to hear from him then. And then my son graduated a few weeks later or whatever. He graduated May of 2019. So I remember sending him like pictures of him graduating and this, that, and the other. And then July 2019, my uncle, his brother, passed away. And so, man, like, I miss my uncle because he was actually like the uncle that I actually had the closest relationship with since reconnecting with the family. And one thing I really appreciated about him is he never said, well, that's your dad. So, like, and it's not like I would necessarily bash him to him, but sometimes he would ask me about different things and I would be honest, and he would never say like, oh, well, that's your dad. And I hate when people do that. I mean, any family member, because it's like, yeah, we got the same blood, but I'm sorry if you're toxic, and sometimes hate the word toxic because it's so overused in ways that it shouldn't be sometimes. But if it's not a good situation and you're mistreating me or whatever, you having the same blood as me does not give you a pass to do that. Like, I will not talk to you and be at peace with that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, someone being family it matters, but it doesn't when I'm being mistreated. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciated that about my uncle. But he passed away July 2019. And so then you know how it goes when somebody dies, where then the rest of the family, it just really highlights how short life can be, and they try to come together and all this stuff. And so they made a family group chat, right? And so they, of course, included me and they included my bio dad. So people would talk, this, that, and the other. And what I noticed, but then what other people started noticing is that My dad would talk in the chat, and he would like talk to other people and not respond to me if I happen to talk directly to him. And so then people are calling him out on this because they're seeing this. And so I tried to like call him separately to kind of talk about it because I didn't understand like why are you ignoring me as if you didn't just call me a few months ago? Like it was just weird because you're treating me like I'm not your daughter, and like there's the level of like humiliation that came into that because it's like you're doing it. I would rather you do this privately. Like I would rather you ignore or you do all this stuff where it's not everybody is seeing this, you know what I'm saying? Because it just I didn't understand that. And so what I did was I called him and he didn't answer. And so then I went back to the group chat, and this was August of 2019. And I went back and looked at the timeline of all of this because of what happened last week. So, August 2019, I basically was like, I don't want y'all, because it was like causing arguments and all this stuff between my aunties. And I'm like, I don't want y'all arguing over me and this. I am washing my hands of the situation. Like, I've always said that I'm open to having a relationship with him, but I'm not going to be the one making the effort anymore. And so that's how I feel about this. So, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no need to argue. There's no need to do any of this stuff because I'm good with it. Just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm grown. I've gone my entire life without him. And I can't remember if I said actually all of that, but for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. And I have not reached out to him since. So that was over 3 years ago, right? So then in the midst of all that, and I've kind of talked about this on here, when things come up, like I'm very big on processing pain and healing and this, that, and the other, just because it can hinder you from being healthy in other relationships. So it's not about forgiveness because it benefits the other person. Forgiveness is for me. So I choose to forgive because it's a thing you have to continually choose over and over again because your triggers are going to happen and things are going to happen, and you're going to have to in that moment decide what are you going to do with that, you know what I mean? And so as things have bubbled up, I've processed a lot of stuff and this, that, and the other. So I really can say that I forgive him, which also means I cancel the debt. So I don't have any expectations of him. Like, he really could not do anything to make up for what he's done anyway. So it's kind of like I'm just canceling the debt. Does that mean I'm reaching out to him and I'm doing all this stuff? Well, I would have said no until, okay, so let's bring it forward. It's kind of crazy because July 10th of this year, right? So July 10th of this year, I was listening because matter of fact, that was during the little bit of time when I couldn't even go to church because I didn't have a way to get there, so I would just watch online. So July 10th, I was listening to church online, and one of the things the pastor said within it was talking about something like if God tells you to do something, you don't want to just ignore it because whatever whoop de woo, right? So okay, cool. So I'm listening, and then at the end of all of that, or it might have been during that, at some point, either during that or at the end of it, I really felt the Lord tell me that I should call my dad. And I actually talked about this on this episode. And I'm so grateful that I talk about stuff like this. And this is kind of like my public journal because as I've been trying to put dates together, I didn't journal it in my actual journal. I couldn't find it, but I did talk about it on here. So that helped me to put things together as far as dates and just all this stuff. And so super grateful that this platform gives me the freedom to do that because it's my platform and I do what I want, but you know what I mean. So I didn't call him Sunday. I actually ignored it. And then Monday came along and that feeling just came back really, really strongly. And so then I called and he didn't answer. And I remember crying because I'm just like, why did I waste my time calling him? And like opening myself back up to basically be rejected. Like, forgiveness doesn't mean I don't care. It just means that I process it and I don't feel like he owes me anything. Because again, there's nothing that he could do if I felt like he owed me to repay what he's done anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I remember that, and then I was just like, well, that was kind of weird, but whatever. Fast forward to last week. So last Monday, my cousin called me, and it's so funny. I knew it was bad news because she messaged me at like 2 o'clock in the morning her time and was like, "Hey, cousin, I'm gonna call you." And I just thought that was kind of weird because, like, why don't you just call? Probably not 2 o'clock in the morning, but just that. But I don't know. Then again, it could just be my anxiety because I'm not knowing, you know what I'm saying, what's happening. And I just couldn't figure that it would be anything good. So I message her. I'm like, okay, blah, blah, blah. We finally talk. And I just start off with, okay, who died? And she kind of laughed because I'm like, girl, you don't even understand how you've had my anxiety on a million, you know what I'm saying? Trying to think about, because I haven't talked to one of my aunties in a while. And yeah. So I'm just like, you know, and she's like, no, nobody died. But what she did tell me is that my bio dad has throat cancer and has been in the hospital. And how she found out is he reached out to her probably about a week before she reached out to me. And she said it took her a week she was like, she was going to tell me, but it took her a week to kind of sort it out because she just wasn't sure how to tell me. And then also she had her own stuff going on, so whatever, but she said she knew it was important to tell me because she remembered a conversation we had where I was saying, like, with the way things go with him now, like, if he died, would anybody tell me? Like, how would I find that out? And like, that just makes me feel some type of way because, like, as like his only child, I don't know. So yeah, he has throat cancer. He's in the hospital. And she said that he asked her to tell the rest of the family. And then she asked him, was he going to tell me? And he said he was scared to. And she's like, never mind, I'll tell my cousin. And she said he was like, okay, thank you, and whatever. And so it's so crazy because I was just like, okay, well, I'm glad you told me, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, I don't have any hatred towards him. Like, if anything, sadness happens when I think about things, but it's not like anger. Anger's a masking emotion anyway. You're usually angry because of some other emotion, like feeling rejected or neglected or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm beyond that. It's just sadness comes because I'm actually allowing myself to admit, you know what I'm saying, to like the real emotion. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pray for him is what I thought. Like, that's what I would have had no plans on, like, calling him or any of that stuff because I had just called him in July and he didn't answer, so I didn't expect that he would answer if I called him now. But then had to be God. Was I was just like, well, I guess I'll call him, you know what I'm saying, and then um, we'll see what happens. Because again, I have no expectations of him, but at the same time, I can't say like I don't care. Like, I don't wish cancer or ill on anyone. You know what I'm saying? I either rock with you or I just don't. But me not rocking with you doesn't mean I hate you or I have, I want bad to happen to you. Like, it's not in me to use that much energy to hate anyone. Like, I don't have that strong of emotions towards anyone to wish bad on them. You know what I'm saying? You nobody is worth that type of energy that it takes to do all that and feel all that and whatever. So we got off the phone and I called him and I was hella surprised that he actually answered on the first ring. I'm like, "What?" And so he's like, "Hello." And I'm like, "Do you know who this is?" And he said, "No." Oh, and my heart, I'm just like, "Damn, dude." Like, you don't even, like, what? And I was like, "This is your daughter." And then he was like, "I can't talk right now. I have to go. I'm gonna call you back." And so then he hung up and I cried because I'm like, well, damn, you called my cousin and you like wanted her to tell me this and this, that, and the other, like, whatever. So I'm like, well, whatever. And so then I just text him and I was just like, well, Carletta, that's my cousin, told me that you have throat cancer. I just called to tell you that I'm praying for you. And I just kind of left it at that because, like, I am praying for him and I wanted him to know why I called and that she had told me as he had, asked her to tell me or whatever. Because I don't know if I said this. He said he was scared to tell me when yeah, I did say that. So then he responded and he's like, you know, I'm glad she told you. I've been here, like he's been sick since so he found out in May. He's been in the hospital since June 30th. So that's what's crazy about him being in, the dates is he went to the hospital June 30th. I had no idea of this. And July 10th, I hear the Lord tell me, call your dad. You know what I'm saying? He didn't answer, but that's not the point. That was something I think that was more so because I didn't, he well, I did talk to him later, and when I did talk to him later, he did most of the talking, so I didn't even tell him that. But when he was texting, he's in chemo and radiation and um like just kind of talking about how there's some, I guess, lawsuit for the base that I was born at. The water was contaminated and people are getting cancer or whatever. So he's like concerned about me and my mom and this, that, and the other. And so just all these things. And he was like, at first, when I found out, I was numb, and then I got scared and scared for you and your mom and this, that, and the other. And so then he was like, I'm doing whatever and I'm going to call you later. And I didn't really expect him to because, again, this is the history that he's shown me. But he did call me later that day, talked to him for about 45 minutes. He has a trach in his throat. So, it was different talking to him because it was a struggle. And honestly, like for him to talk to me actually is like kind of a sacrifice for him because, he has that thing in his throat, and even when we were like talking he had to pause to like rest for a second. And mind you, I didn't really talk, he just talked, and he talked about kind of like what he's been through the last year leading up to that. He actually was homeless and just all this crazy stuff was going on. And what's so crazy about all of this is that this is how I know that I've forgiven him because I felt nothing but like empathy and like sadness, cuz just like I would if anybody was telling me a messed up situation that they were going through. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably didn't talk much because I was holding back from crying while talking to him. And so at the end of all that, he's like, he also said that, I did, so I guess and I think I knew this, my grandparents passed away before I was born, and he had me at 19, which is kind of crazy. I never thought about the fact that he had me at the same age that I had my first child. And so, or did he? No, he didn't have me at 19. He couldn't have. I think he lost his mom at 19. Yeah, that's what it was. He lost his mom. I've been lying to people because whatever. So, not lying, I just, the information was wrong because I've been telling people that he had me at 19, but he couldn't have because he's older than my mom and she had me at 23. So, yeah, his mom passed away when he was 19. And his dad, so my grandfather, he was not in his life either. Like apparently from what somebody told me, my auntie escaped him. I don't want to say escaped, that sounds dramatic, but like left him because it wasn't a good relationship and like moved up north. I think they live down south somewhere in like, I don't know, South Carolina, North Carolina, something. And that's how they all ended up in New York, you know what I'm saying? And so he didn't grow up with his dad. He's the oldest, and then he lost his mom before he became a parent. So he was just saying how like I don't know how to be a dad. He's like, I know I haven't been a good dad. I know I don't even deserve you to be calling me or whatever. Is kind of what I got. He didn't say that verbatim, that last part about he doesn't deserve, but just the tone and just like what he was saying, that's kind of what I feel like he felt, is that he didn't deserve to have me calling him or whatever, or saying I'm a pray or whatever. And he was like, you know, you calling means more than anybody else calling. And like it was just such a wild thing. And then at the end of all that, he's like, I'm glad you're my daughter. I'm glad your mom had you, this, that, and the other. I love you. And then he got off the phone, and I haven't talked to him since. He was texting a little bit at first, and the last time I texted him, and I was just like, "How are you feeling?" Because again, I'm not having this expectation that, oh, this is going to reunite our relationship or any of that, but I want to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm having to settle at extremes of this, like I'm praying for his healing and all that. The crazy thing is he lives in New York, so I'm not in a position, unless somebody wants to pay for a plane ticket or something. I'm not in a position to be going out there and visiting him. But then again, it's like, do I want that to be when I reunite with him? I don't know. So I'm wrestling with all of this. I'm settling at extremes of this man could die and that could be my last conversation with him, or I mean, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because cancer is it's cancer, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. That has been the last week. It was a super struggle just because that's heavy. You know what I'm saying? Just even the fact of me talking to him after I hadn't talked to him in 3 years as well. But then it's like the reason I'm talking to him and all that goes along with that. But the one thing that I'm grateful for out of all of this is that I know that I have really forgiven him, because if he passes, I don't have any regrets. Like he didn't die with me having hatred in my heart that then I gotta be like, oh, I wish I would have, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll just have normal grief. You know what I'm saying? I will feel some type of way because you could have met me at whatever points, but at the same time, it's like, it is what it is. I can't change anything about your decisions. I can't force anybody to do anything, and I'm not going to. You're my parent. You know what I'm saying? But then also, it's kind of like, I'm glad that I have forgiven him, because I don't think I would have called if I still had unforgiveness in my heart. And then it's kind of like I would have this expectation that's unrealistic. Like if this man gets healed of cancer as I'm praying and asking other people to pray and all this stuff. So if you're a praying person, if you could pray for him, that'd be great. You know what I'm saying? Good vibes, whatever. But let's say he gets healed and the cancers goes away and all that good stuff. I don't have this expectation that that's going to make our relationship come back together. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to just have realistic expectations, and yes, pray and do all that stuff. I do care. Yes, check in, all that stuff. But at the same time, not like he said he was gonna call me and hasn't since then, and I don't feel any type of way. You know what I'm saying? You really actually don't have to call. You don't have to do anything. I just wanted you to know that I was praying for you, that I did get the message that you know what's going on with you, that I do care, because you probably did feel like I wouldn't care or whatever. And maybe that's for my own peace of mind too. But either way, this is kind of like where I'm at, and yeah, life be life, and it's like, y'all, there's so much going on that I don't talk about on here, and man, even yeah, there's just so much going on right now at the same time, and I'm just kind of like, okay, control what I can, pray about the stuff I can't control, and just keep moving forward. That's really all I could do. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I'm trying to build a company, I'm trying to do this, that, and the other. Like, it's just, I can't just, I don't know. It's just crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and end it on that note. Um, and yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Be healthy in your relationships, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for